Dude, I'm just not cut out to be a streamer, dude. All the technical difficulties. Also, just computers in general. Like, I don't know what fucking device it switched my microphone from, but it was like, yeah, this is a microphone you've been using the whole time. Let's just change it to something else randomly.
Chip will just randomly update.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, oh, oops, now this doesn't work.
My bad.
This thing that you've spent so much time painstakingly adjusting.
I know.
Yeah. Why do we have to update drivers? Why can't things just stay the same forever and ever and ever?
That would be beautiful. I wish things could stay the same forever and ever.
And ever and ever.
And ever and ever. But unfortunately, that's not the way technology works, and it's not the way businesses work.
Maybe they should not work like that.
Hello, good
you
morning.
Good?
I am good. I told you I'm heating up a cheesy dillo.
A cheesy what?
Cheesy dillo.
What is that?
Eric, do you ever feel like you're speaking a language that no one else understands?
You should have seen the other day when I couldn't stop saying fucking, what was it? Capital Lacronc. It was really fun to say.
You explained to me what it was supposed to mean. I still can't tell from like the words you're speaking.
I'm gonna level with you, man. I couldn't understand half of the English you were speaking just now either.
Just in general.
Don't like eating the capital Lacronc?
Oh my goodness. I don't know who you're offending, but you should be offending someone. Some group should be offended right now. Oh my goodness.
You know, I found when I'm incredibly...
and you just hear the kitchen noises happening.
I know.
Like we're having a similar moment.
Dude.
I don't think you were ever there for the days when I was known for just having the Roman Empire like all the time.
What?
Having the Roman Empire?
Like people would complain that I would just have the entire Roman Empire in my room.
Oh no, I was there for that.
Oh, you were? Yeah, see, it was a good time. Everyone loved it.
The whole Roman Empire?
Like you're fundamentally misunderstanding other people.
No, they loved it. It was great. Where did my water go? Oh, there. It's right there to my left. Very good. Yeah, I found out the other day that when I'm incredibly mentally unstable, which is very rare, that never happens, that I will just like start singing Nickelback songs, but with like the vocals of Blink-182.
What?
God made you, and then he broke the mold, Eric.
Yeah.
One of a kind.
He was so good for that.
Yeah.
For that.
You chilling, by the way?
Yeah, I've got my cheesy dillo. And it smells very cheesy.
What do you think of Discord status updates, Eric?
I think I can make one that reflects exactly what I'm doing right now, and that's very cool. Like, here, watch. Right. You click this funny little button that says custom, right? Or edit custom, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Eating a cheesy dillo. Perfect.
Oh my. Oh my.
Bro.
Hey, look. Is that not beautiful? Is that not perfect?
That's powerful right there.
I feel like you've got me in a snare here.
Oh.
You know I wouldn't call myself ugly.
Oh yeah, so the vanity strikes again. Oh, I can do one too. What do you guys think of my status?
It's terrible.
I hate that.
Wow, look, it's
now this is podcasting.
Now peas in a pod. It's time to introduce our two guests for this episode.
Yeah. Pod and Cast? Who?
Pod and Cast, baby.
Pod and Cast. The dynamic comedy duo.
Speaking of 5.
Oh, yeah?
Was your conference 5 days?
Yes, sir.
I feel like every time you updated your B-reel, you were still at that conference, and I was like, man, they're yapping. They've got a lot to say over there.
Oh my god, don't get me started about yapping.
boy.
Oh my God. Well, yes, my conference was 5 days. I was in Seattle for 5 days, the worst 5 days of my life. Oh man, don't get me started, period. I have thoughts about Seattle. I have thoughts about science. I have so many thoughts, but Luke, you're not the first person I've heard this week who's used the term yappin'.
Yeah, it was the internet term of the week many weeks ago.
It really was. I went back home and like I just got like surprise like encountered by one of my friends being like, "What's all this yapping?" And me just like going and like, what does that mean? And then I start seeing YouTubers saying it in their YouTube videos, like all this yapping, and I'm like, that's kind of a rude thing to say. No, like it's kind of
realize it's actually a trend. Right? Is that
it's a trend right now? Yeah, it's a trend right now.
But like you've heard the term used that way before.
Well, certainly. It like means it, but I feel like people are now just using it a lot to mean like, oh, what's all this like chit chat, this chatter?
It entered the collective lexicon about like a month ago. I can't believe I'm the most online person here. I can't believe it.
I'm online. I'm just old and resentful.
And I'm old and resentful because I encounter these things.
But I feel like I don't know. I feel like I used to be with it. I used to be not. I wouldn't say cool, but I used to like be like, oh yeah, like what was the recent one? Bet, yeah, bet, like or like oh yeah, that like let's keep it low key, or like
low key is 10 years old now.
That's pretty old. I mean
even like the sheesh era. Like I was kind of down with the sheesh era.
The sheesh era,
yeah.
Oh my God.
But now I'm hearing yapping, and I'm like, that's kind of rude. No,
we should resist.
Resist.
Yeah, we should resist.
Resist yapping.
Resist.
What should we resist? Yapping? Or
I'm just gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
I filtered it from my brain. I don't even know what you said.
We should refuse to use these terms.
Yeah, we should take a stand.
We should create our own incomprehensible vocabulary.
Eric's already years ahead of you, man.
No, yeah, you're right.
I don't know what a cheesy dillo is. I don't know. Is it a quesadilla?
I mean, duh, it's a cheesy dillo.
Cheesy dillo? I mean, it has like.
If you translate that to English, it's just cheesy dillo.
I could never live in Australia.
Who is saying about Australia?
It sounds like something you'd encounter in Australia. It sounds like some kind of wildlife. That's a cheesy dillo over there.
I think you need to update your English, bud.
They'd call it something like a chunk flap.
Yeah, that's an Australian thing I've heard in a while.
Why? You guys are clearly on the same dialect of Australian, and I'm somewhere else. I'm in like Perth.
Not talked to Australians, bud.
I haven't. I've talked to like zero. I talked to one British lady during my conference who's like, I want to go to Australia really badly. And I'm like, good for you. That's sick.
Did she explain why?
Yeah.
She want to try the chunk flaps?
Yeah, she was like, yo, you ever had a chunk flap? I've been dying to get one. No, she was just okay, well, this was during my poster session at the conference. So background for science conferences, this is like something that most universities will like try and encourage students to do like once a year, like at least go to some sort of conference. And it's mostly so you can get practice public speaking, you can talk about your science, present your science, and you can network. So all these good business career, objectives you can fulfill by like going to a conference. So I went to this conference called ARVO, which stands for something related to vision research. I don't remember the full name, but it's like a vision research conference. It's like really big. There was like a 5-digit number attendees, I think. Like there were a lot of people there. And one of the things I had to do as part of being at this conference was present a poster. So like a scientific poster talking about all the stuff I do. And while I was doing this poster session, I basically had this lady come up to my poster. And mind you, I study neurobiology for whatever that means, right? And this person comes up and is like, oh, this is so interesting. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's your background? Do you want me to go through it? And she's like, I'm a mathematician. And I just,
I think you're at the wrong conference.
I'm just like, oh, we're not gonna see like eye to eye, are we?
Ironically,
I'm a little biased, but when someone tells me I'm a mathematician, I'm like, what? Who hurt you in life? Like, how did you end up on this path? This is the British lady, by the way. The British lady is the mathematician.
How'd you end up British?
Are you sure it doesn't mean something different over there?
Yeah, it probably does, because she would have been a mathematician or something, right? Like it's different there. Maybe
you're right.
Maybe she does. Maybe it's, I don't know what she does. Like teach little children something. I don't know what it is, but yeah. I forget what the whole objective of this, what question was asked to me to get here, but she is a mathematician, and I'm sure that was relevant somehow.
It seems like she's just yapping.
She's British and she's going to Australia.
She's British. She wants to go to Australia. Oh, it's because I thought she was mentally unwell, since she was like a very social mathematician who kept talking to me about my science whilst having no background in my science. She was super nice.
They just found you cute. I don't know what else.
I know. I mean, many people do, but
I know. She needs to back the hell off.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you tell her, Eric. Yeah,
I will.
I'm
Give
yours.
Me her number.
Yeah, I should have totally asked for that. Damn. If I ever want to go to the UK or Australia,
drop the ball on that one, bud.
Take it back.
Gonna take what? She's gonna take it back. Yeah. Australia,
the homelands,
for King Charles.
I think she's one of a select elite crew. You know, They have all their specialists. They have one mathematician, one scientist, one engineer.
Now, Teva, did she say I'm a mathematician or I'm the mathematician?
She probably said I'm the mathematician because she was the only mathematician at that conference for vision restoration.
Yeah, she was looking for the vision specialist for long-range operations while she takes it back for Charles.
Yeah, she's taking it back for Charles.
Yeah, for Charlie. For sure.
Yeah, and they have to go pretty fast, because he doesn't...
Yeah, not much time left.
Yeah, not much left in the tank,
Did you see his royal portrait?
Like, he looks like a zombie. That one, or?
The one that's all red.
Oh, red. No, I don't remember that one.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
It actually goes so hard. Like, hold on.
I will put it in the video, so... Dude, he looks like he has rabies or something. Like, oh, I've seen this one all over like Reddit. Yes, that's actually kind of super sick art.
Yeah,
that's
like,
this seems like it would be on a Planeswalker card.
It does. It's literally
like an alt art card. Like,
I'm gonna make a Magic deck with this as the custom art for the commander or something. But like, yeah, the art goes super hard. It's basically him in his military uniform. And it's just all like just red. It's all like shades of red. And then there's kind of like a butterfly there, which, ominous, but.
Yeah, Charles of the bygone age, Planeswalker.
Literally. It's actually so hype.
Is this before or after he lost the spark is always the question,
Oh my goodness. Oh, he's lost the spark, trust me. I don't know.
Nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to clown on him, but I guess I can because he's like king of England, so
Britain, and we're in the United States.
Exactly.
They can't get us with their libel laws here.
Yeah, they're not going to take back what's theirs here.
No, Australia maybe.
Australia they have a chance.
Here.
Yeah.
Wait, so were you just standing and presenting the poster for 5 days?
Yeah, I mean, you
really?
No, God.
Oh my God, I would have believed you.
So there's 5 days, and every day except for maybe one, there are like poster sessions throughout the day, and so I was presenting one of the 5 days for like 2 hours. So I basically, it was actually the last day, which kind of is good and kind of is bad. It's good because a lot of people have left and it's quieter. It's bad because you can't leave early.
I can tell you're really excited about presenting your poster.
I think most people hate poster presentations because it is like the ultimate like social test where you have to stand in this fixed place and wait as people pass you by, and you're like, do you want to talk to me? Do you care about my work? Do you care about this science I do?
They're trying their hardest not to get in your aggro range.
And they're trying their hardest not to like look at you. Yes, exactly. They don't want to get aggroed by me. This is kind of a bit of a deep cut, but have any of you heard of this software called GatherTown?
No.
Okay.
Is that? Wait,
it's kind of like Club Penguin-esque, if that's... It is... So, during the pandemic of COVID-19, scientists...
Hey, Teva, be careful. We're going to get another...
It's too late. It's signed, sealed.
I'm going 3 for 3, man. Every episode from now on. No, but during COVID. Vaccines are real. Okay, so anyway, during COVID-19...
Funny joke.
During the pandemic, right? We scientists and like academia and whatever, they were trying to like interview people to like join universities, whatever, but they couldn't actually invite people in person. So instead what they did is they used this software called GatherTown, which is essentially like a version of Club Penguin where you have an avatar, you're on like a 2D map and you move around with your avatar. Except this avatar is connected to your like Zoom camera and microphone. So anytime you literally walk into someone's aggro range, their screen just pops up on your screen. It is the most awkward software I've ever used because you will just be trying to like walk around and like someone will just randomly pop up in your screen. And it's like different from like walking around in a real room because you can walk by someone and not do anything. But now if you like enter aggro range, it's like, oh, suddenly it's just me and this person in like a Zoom call. It was so dumb.
It's like Pokemon. You walk by the person and they just pop up.
Yeah, a little exclamation mark appears above their head and they're like, hey, are you doing science? And then some music starts playing. It's very...
Dude, you wouldn't want me on this software. I'd be the GatherTown Menace.
The GatherTown Menace? You'd be like, hey, how's it going?
Wait.
Yeah, I'd be the guy sitting in the corner that gives you a quest.
Oh my god.
If it's used for, remote activities, right? Where people can't all get together... What if we were to pod?
Podding in GatherTown?
In GatherTown?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then we could record the video and people could see us move our avatar once every 5 minutes.
I could see you in person on my screen.
What's the difference between that and just playing Minecraft together?
I can't see your beautiful face when we play Minecraft.
One of those is a lot more fun, and I'm not going to say which.
Dude, we should pod during Apex. That'd be really funny.
Pod during Apex? Just
dude,
try our hardest.
Just watch us,
get back to the conversation.
Yeah.
As we're like jumping on people, just kind of that quiet, like, okay, the other day. Hold on.
Yo, they're left. Getting close.
And you just kind of like blank for like the next, like 5 minutes. And you're like, okay, so anyways, what are we talking about?
Dude,
yeah, people listening on the audio are just hearing gunshots going off.
It would be so chaotic. I feel already bad enough every time we go on like a 10-minute long Valorant rant. And it's like actually just playing Apex. Are you saying we'd record our gameplay and like have the gameplay footage in the background?
Yeah.
Like the Subway Surfer or whatever they're called, like videos.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But we'd be talking about completely unrelated stuff, like a 5-day conference.
5-day conference, yes.
The challenge is to not talk about Apex at all.
That's easy for me.
I'm getting increasingly more frustrated talking about a benign activity.
Yeah. You'll be like,
I'm
what?
Frantically pinging in game and you guys aren't listening to me.
It's like, what I really care about in like a relationship? When people listen to what's on their left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done for that.
Sometimes I need a little bit of help, like, getting up in the morning.
I'm
like, help.
I'm actually unironically down for this. I would like think of it as like a bonus app.
Yeah.
On the Patreon.
On the OnlyFans.
On the OnlyFans and on the Patreon.
Dude, the Teva and friends? Teva and fans?
Teva and fans. Wow, that's a great idea.
Wait for the Teva in France podcast.
Teva in France.
Shit.
Yeah, I'll catch you guys in like 2026.
Wait, so sorry, trying to get back to the conference here, trying to get back to Seattle from France.
Oh yes.
Where was the conference? Was it in? I'm assuming it was in downtown.
It was in the Seattle
Convention Center.
Yeah, it's in the Seattle Convention Center. I think the building is called like the Arch or something because it's like two buildings connected by a sky bridge, so it's kind of like forms an arch. Yeah, I mean, so it was in downtown Seattle, and like this is such a small thing, but the drivers in Seattle are just crazy. Like. They're literally, if you are crossing the street and it's like it's an unprotected right turn or something, and they're crossing the street, every step you take, they like let off the gas a little bit. Like every inch you move across the crosswalk, they like move an inch closer to making the turn. They're like so just aggressive for like, I don't know, a West Coast city. Like,
so
yeah,
that's the exact reason why I don't like Seattle.
Oh, like, really?
Yeah. No. That like no lie. When I went to Seattle, like when we all met up there, that was the thing that stood out for me. It wasn't like the food,
wasn't the friends,
the blistering heat that we had to deal with. No, it was actually the drivers that made me completely stressed and not want to be there. Because at one point, the thing that really sold to me was when we were walking down a street and there was two lanes, right? One going one way, one going the other, right? And some guy decides to just U-turn. Like, in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
Like, not give a shit about anyone else on the road, just U-turn. Because, like, I need to be in this lane.
I think driving in a city where the right lane turns into parking does something diabolical to people's brains.
I mean, that can happen. Like, even in Portland, there's some of that. But
but it's like, the rules of the road don't matter, because look what they took from us.
Dude, they took from us our sanity. I mean, it's true. Like, I would say for Seattle, it's when having a freeway on-ramp turns into a freeway off-ramp. That, like, driving is just, it's all fake. None of it's real.
None of it's real.
It's all society, man. It's just a construct. And they're just more woke in Seattle, and they've always been, and that's why they drive like shit.
Yeah, I legitimately think it is an awful place to exist. No one should live there.
It's also another small thing. I hate how fucking pompous Washington is. I don't know if you know, they're like little like state in like their state highways or whatever. All Washington's head. Like, get over it. We don't care about Washington.
He never set foot in your damn state.
Exactly. It's like fucking like people in, I don't know, like Texas with like Confederate flags. It's like, bro, this is not about you, unless it was, and my history is bad. But like, I feel like it's just like, dude, you didn't fight in this war.
Oh no, they did.
Texas did?
Yeah. Did you know Texas was the last place with slaves?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
that's
because
fair.
The news didn't get there until 2 years later.
Dude,
and that's why Juneteenth is celebrated, because it's the day that everyone was officially free.
Oh, well, thank you for the history lesson. I'll try and pick a different place with a lot of Confederate flags next time as my example. But yeah, fair enough. That's actually so interesting to know. I did not realize that, and that's cool. That's coming up in like a month or so.
But anyway, fuck Washington State.
But fuck Washington. And it's like, we already have Washington, D.C. There, I get it. Like, he was there, man. Like, why are all your state intersections pictures of Washington's head? Who cares, dude?
Like, the thing I find really funny as well, too, for like just this conversation in general, is most people, when they talk about bad drivers, they're always talking about their own state. Right?
Yeah.
They're always like, oh, like California drivers are so bad.
Oh, I have a tier list.
Oh, no, like we are actively saying, fuck Washington drivers and specifically Seattle drivers. Y'all are awful.
Also, Washington drivers in Portland. Like, every time I see a Washington license plate, they will without a doubt either one of two things. They will drive the most aggressively I've ever seen and cut like 3 people off, or they will like meander into like almost another car on the road, like not paying attention. I cannot deal with Washington drivers. They're the worst. And like, I've lived in Oregon, California, and I've been in Washington a few times, and Washington is by far the worst, and California is a close second. Oregon's chill.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe. I'll be
Yeah,
honest, I
yeah.
kind of got that vibe as well too.
Oregon's fine. Like there's bad drivers everywhere, but on the whole, Oregon is kind of chill.
And you can also kind of just get around no issues, right? Without what's it called?
Without a car?
Like as far as like the main parts of Oregon, no. Good?
You can.
The cities, yeah.
In Portland,
Portland.
you can. So the nice thing about Portland is if there's no traffic, everything is like 10 to 15 minutes away, which is pretty sick. By car, and it takes a lot longer by public transport, but you can do it. The thing I like about Portland, it's not really like a full-fledged city, kind of like a Seattle, where when I was in downtown Seattle, I just started feeling fatigued, like being there for 5 days. I'm like, dude, it's so noisy, it's so like just busy and packed, and like Amazon's there, and like all these things of just like, oh, it's kind of gross.
Bezos standing at the top of the Amazon
Yeah.
building, sucking everyone's life force from the city.
I can feel his gaze at all moments, and I'm like, I feel weaker here.
I have Sauron above the Amazon tower.
Literally, actually. So I didn't love the city. The food is better than Portland, for sure.
Portland food sucks.
No, Portland food is good. It's just
Don't lie
like,
to me.
okay, I mean, I've been here for a few years, so maybe we're just full Stockholm syndrome at this point, but I've actually found some pretty decent places in Portland that I think even you would enjoy, Eric.
What is that supposed to mean?
It means what it means.
It's a microaggression. Yeah, it means what it means. But what you don't find, and again, this is where, like, I know your preference, Eric, like, you don't find good, authentic mom and pop shops. That's not what you get in Portland. You get fusion, you get slightly, like, fancified food that's, like, tasty, but it's, like, not an authentic experience, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But it's tasty. And the food in Seattle is tasty, but, like, and the city, like, low-key, Seattle is actually so beautiful. Like, I hate how beautiful it is when the weather is nice. It is.
I hate how beautiful it is when the weather is nice.
It's really, it's so frustrating. It's so irksome because it's like, oh, it's like nice here, but the problem is
people
just
who live here don't deserve it.
Like I said, the problem is the culture, man. It's the culture. I can't do a Seattle culture.
Meanwhile, our two of our very good friends, one from Seattle, one currently living in Seattle.
Yeah. I'm so sorry for them.
Slandering their city.
I mean, we could ask them how they feel. I mean, I think so we have another friend who's actually a graduate student and going to UW for like biology, whatever. And like he actually seems to like it a lot. He seems pretty happy there. And I'm like, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. I'm glad someone can be.
So you hate academia.
Well,
is what you're saying. You didn't like the conference.
Dude, it's funny because I feel like of the three of us, I am the most midline introvert extrovert. And certainly probably the most like I've had to do the most like kind of like big social events just because like in science you go to like a lot of conferences where there's a lot of people, and I just felt so overwhelmed by like just the amount of people there and like the amount of like faces that you don't know. It's like it's just so many people and so many like random faces, and like they're all doing like businessy stuff and they're all trying to be all professional, and I'm like, this is so draining to like be around.
Yeah.
So I don't love conferences for that reason.
Yeah, I mean I'm learning that is kind of like the conferencing expectation in a lot of ways.
I hate talking to people and like making it about business. Like I hate the fakeness of it, and I get that it's something that like everyone does, but like I don't know, for me like I just like talking to people authentically so much that I feel like I almost have to like dissociate a little to like do the business chat, do the business talk, right? Like you have to like put on a face and like fake it.
So wait, so what's business about it? Is it like actual industry stuff that people are bringing up? Because I feel like if they're talking about the research,
I mean the research is a kind of business if you think it's like their profession. It's like a professional space. It maybe isn't like, you know, quote unquote private sector whatever business stuff, but like there is a lot of private sector money at Arvo. Like a whole room is just filled with like businesses, companies, startups, major players, stuff like, Genentech, Johnson & Johnson, all like big companies, and they just have like a stand and they're like, try our new drug or try our new treatment for repairing this eye
go.
You want to go?
I want to try their new drug.
Big drug enjoyer.
Are your eyes bad, bro?
No, but maybe they'll get even better.
They'll get better. Dude, I was watching a video like literally just yesterday about this guy who had like a complication with LASIK, and it sounds so sad.
Oh my, yeah. I thought, okay, when I first heard about LASIK, I'm like, wow, what a cool advancement of science. And then I heard all of the things that can go wrong and how it can just blind you randomly. And it's like, oh, I don't ever want to do that.
I mean, for me, I get it. Most of the time, you go to a reputable surgeon, you spend the money to not get the cheapest possible procedure done, you get evaluated to make sure that you're like a viable candidate for it, and you'll probably be fine. Like, most people are fine. But like the risk of like being in the 1% of people who's like, oh yeah, you're going blind now, or oh yeah, you're going blind now and you have chronic eye pain for the rest of your life. Like I just, it's not worth it for me. And like, I'm just so used to like wearing glasses anyway that I'm like, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's like, I've gambled on 1% for good things so many times. Why would I gamble on 1% for bad things?
I've played enough gotcha games to know, there's always a chance.
Yeah, I've played enough XCOM to know that a 99% to hit sometimes means you miss.
Yeah, that is how it works. 1 time out of 100, in fact.
Sometimes with XCOM, it feels like more than 1 time out of 100, but that's a whole other conversation.
We can talk about human perception. Yeah,
Teva, you didn't enjoy talking about people's research? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like, are you accusing me of not being a dedicated like scientist?
Teva, do you like your job?
I like parts of it for sure. There are parts of it that I don't love. So I think if I was talking to a person one-on-one about their science, like in a safe, friendly environment, that sounds dope. I think trying to like network and be like, oh yeah, so what do you do? Oh, you work on this topic? I don't give a shit about that topic, but do you think that'll like land me a job later in the future? Like all this finagling where it's like kind of fake in my mind. Like, I think science is cool. I think people who are passionate about their science and like present their science well, like that's sick. I love talking about science and I enjoy doing some amount of the research. Like, it's one of those things where it's like the research is chill, but I like talking about it and the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem,
so it feels more like speed dating.
Yeah, the problem with
being
conferences,
in that environment.
Yeah, it is kind of feels like speed dating, especially because of the position I'm in, where it's just like going to this conference, I'm trying to graduate within a reasonable amount of time. And so I'm kind of looking for like, what's my next step? What's my next like opportunity? And I dislike that because it feels like, I feel like a lot of the times those come about naturally when you just talk to people in your field enough. And so I don't I dislike the feeling of forcing that. But yeah.
Interesting.
I also just like, it's like really comfortable being at home and being like in lab in a way, because you kind of just show up to work. No one's really monitoring you or like, what's the word? Like looking over your shoulder. You just kind of do your stuff. You talk to the people you like talking to. You come back home, you do your thing. It's very chill and relaxing. And like the conference was fun and a nice change of pace for like the first 2 days. And then I'm like, bro, I want my own bed in my own room.
That's fair. It does sound like a marathon of socializing and trying to network.
Yeah.
5 days seems so long for a conference.
It is.
I mean, I understand maybe because it's like the biggest eye conference on the West Coast.
It's the biggest eye conference in the States for sure. It's probably, it's definitely, it might be the biggest vision research conference period. Like, it probably is.
I mean, I guess in that sense, it makes sense that it's 5 days, but also that's just so much time. And so many of these, like, I went to a conference. I wasn't there to do networking. Yeah. I was there attending all the information sessions. And even that is like 8 to 10 to maybe even 12 hours of trying to take in new information and listening to people talk about stuff. It's just a lot
Oh, totally.
It takes a lot to do to like go through that every day.
If you think college lectures were bad, like it is like that, but like turned up to 11. Like if you really want to get the most out of it, yeah, it's like so much listening and trying to take in information per day. And like at a certain point, you just learn and realize, you know, I can't learn it all. I'm going to have to like take a lot of breaks during the day. But it's kind of funny because for me, it's like, oh yeah, this conference is like a big like deal. It's like a break in my routine. It's more work. One of the professors who's a person who's like the chair of my committee, so they basically like, you know, help decide when I'm going to graduate. They like help me with my research, all that stuff, but is not the professor I work for. He went to this conference, and for him, this is like his biggest vacation all year. He's like, bro, it is like he doesn't have to deal with his kids. He gets to socialize with a bunch of like friends from across the country and across the world that he like doesn't get to see. And he just gets to like drink and not be a dad for like 5 days. And it was really funny because the first night we were there, I had like driven up to Seattle because it's like fairly close. And so we're hanging out at the hotel bar, and this guy, he's really funny. He's Australian, and he's like, oh, Teva, like, can I buy you a drink? And I'm like, I appreciate it. I think I'm tired. It's late. I think I'm just going to chill. And he's like, but Teva, it's Arvo. Like, come on, man. And I'm like, I really don't know. And he's like, oh no, I shouldn't be peer pressuring you. I'm your DAC chair. I shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like, you're so funny.
Did you at least warn him about the British lady?
And warn him?
Yeah, she's gonna take it back, man.
He's
left.
Gotta know. He left before I could. I'll let him know at my next earliest convenience. That was on the last day. He was gone. Maybe
that's why she approached you then.
Because the Australians were leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she got some calculations going on in her head for that. So, but yeah, it was a good time overall. You know.
Do you think you'll get to that level where these things are like conferences are no longer a slog and they're just a hangout with you and all of the people you used to work with?
It's possible. It's totally possible. It kind of depends on the way life takes me, but I feel like, I don't know, this is very like a very me thing. I feel like these conferences are very like independent. Like you go, you do the things you want to do, and then you like meet up with people later. And I like going to conferences with like a buddy where we're both in the same boat. We're both going to do a bit of our own thing, but then we always have each other as like an anchor point to like meet up. So you never feel like socially isolated or alone. I feel like if I had like that would be more fun.
Did I tell you about my conference experience? Because I kind of had that.
Yeah.
I went up with someone from my department. This was 2 years ago now in June. There was a conference in Sacramento. He drove up. We both got like hotel rooms through work.
Yeah.
Which was nice. We also got to go to the conference for free, and we were like paid for it because of connections in our organization. Basically, we were each other's security blankets the whole time.
Right.
So we would like go off and go to sessions that sounded interesting, and then we would like regroup for meals. We would talk about like what we were doing, what we had listened to. And it's funny because I walked away from the conference feeling like, okay, yeah, I could see myself in this industry long term. And then he walked away from the conference thinking like, man, I really got to change something. I don't think I can keep doing this.
Oh no.
The duality of man.
That's so funny. Well, I'm glad you're on that side of the coin.
Yeah, and I think it was nice for both of us to have the other person there, for someone who could we could debrief with, we could just talk about stuff, and we weren't together the whole time. We weren't in a lot of the same sessions, but it was good to know that we had our friend who's, because we're both basically in our industry, we're both like doing day-to-day work versus like big picture directed stuff, at least back then. And we were like both wondering if we should pursue it further.
Right. I think also just having a buddy and like having someone to like share a meal with, so like you don't have to like eat alone in a corner. Yeah.
Did no one else from your cohort go?
Not from my cohort. So like this is like more only one other person from my lab went, but a whole other lab, like this professor who was like the chair of my committee, his whole lab went. So I kind of like pseudo got adopted by them and just hung out with them the whole time, which was nice.
Right, right.
Like that was cool, but like no one else from my lab really went. Which there are reasons, there are sciencey reasons I won't get into, but yeah, it was fun. Seattle's definitely like a change of pace. I know you guys were like traveling also recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
We were in Mexico.
Did you take back what's ours?
I don't know if you can say that about Mexico, buddy. I'm gonna be honest here.
I mean,
I feel like that little situation was settled 200 years ago.
You know, that's what they said about Australia, but
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, they would take back what's theirs in this situation.
I mean, you know, obviously history is not my forte, seeing as I didn't think Texas was part of the Civil War, so
yeah, I mean, we got California because of our war with Mexico. It used to belong to, actually, I don't know if it was Mexico or Spain at that point. Yeah, that's why we have California.
That's sick. I mean,
and I think also like Arizona.
Yeah. What about New Mexico?
I believe so.
A whole bunch.
Did we get New Mexico then too, or
probably? Texas
like,
was its own little weird thing, though.
Imagine winning a war and then being like, "Yeah, we're gonna call this New Mexico because it's like newer and better than like your Mexico." It was passive aggressive.
Well, I mean, Mexico has that with California, kind of ish.
They have Baja California, right?
Baja California, and they call the state Alta California, I think.
And then we took back what was ours by creating the Baja Blast.
It's preview of coming attractions.
Thereby reclaiming the word.
Yes, it was like random aside, but yesterday I ran into my coworkers walking down away from a building, really mad and sad.
Okay.
And like I was like, "Oh, everything cool?" And he was like, "Dude, I was told there was Baja Blast in the building. They lied." And that was it. That was that. And he was legitimately so distraught. He was like, "I need to go like fight someone."
Dude, ruin a coworker's day with one easy trick.
Honestly, poor guy.
Baja baited.
Baja baited.
Love that guy.
Funny.
Yeah, so we went down for our childhood friend's wedding.
Oh.
His wife is from TJ.
Oh,
so
yes,
her family and her friends were all there, and you know, it made a lot more sense for us to go travel south for that than it did for everyone to travel north.
Right.
So yeah,
so that's what y'all did. I mean,
yeah, it was a good time.
This is, I don't know, like, would you say this has been like a long time coming for your friend, or?
I mean, they were dating for 10 years, so
Jesus. Yeah, that's a long time.
Either that or they've at least known each other for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense, and they've been fairly serious. Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't say fairly serious. That's kind of underselling it. They've been serious. He would literally like learn Spanish because of her.
Oh, yeah.
So they're very serious.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we were all going to school together. He would travel down to Tijuana to like go on dates with her. So
yeah, did they meet in college or?
They met, I think, end of high school online.
Okay, gotcha. I see. And then college worked out such that they could like try and see each other more.
Yeah, because I mean, you go to school in San Diego, you're pretty close to the border with Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of college students at like in San Diego who basically like, we'll take like day trips to like Tijuana and like just visit. And it's, you know, it's definitely a thing that's done. So that's cool. So what was is this your first big like close friend's wedding?
Yes, for me at least.
I had a friend who got married, 7 years ago, maybe.
Okay, but were they like a close friend?
Well, it was a church friend, so like we're pretty close.
Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how? No, I'm kidding, but that's fair. Okay, so you've had like someone you know who's like probably around your like age range get married before, or?
Yeah. I mean, I knew both of them. They're both my friends. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But this is like the first one in a while, for sure.
Yeah, I worry that we're getting around that age where this.
What do you mean you worry?
I worry that
It's a new and exciting time for all of us.
It is a new and exciting time in a way. I'm just, I just, you know, it's one of those things that like, man, once it rains, it pours. You know, And like I'm just gonna be so busy going to all my like beloved friends' weddings and watching them be happy, and it's kind of
Yeah, the fun thing about having coworkers that are older than you is you can tell them about new stuff that's happening in your life, and their immediate reaction is get used to it. It's gonna keep happening.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
come on, like give me something a little more than that, something nicer.
When you know you become the hater, that's just everyone's end state is a hater.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the end game.
Yeah. It was great though. It was a really nice like intimate ceremony.
Yeah.
I say that, but there were also like 50 people there. I think it was the smallest wedding I've been to.
That's pretty small.
Pretty small, I would say overall.
Small.
Yeah.
50 people.
Yeah.
That's like, you know,
if not less than that.
It's like each side gets to pick their top 25. That's not a huge number.
Yeah. Well, we made the cut.
Yeah.
Made the cut.
And I'm sure there were also people who were invited who couldn't be there too, because that always happens.
Right.
Like my parents were invited, but they were both like, "Sorry, we gotta work." So
I do think that everyone our friend invited was able to come though. I think that's what was mentioned at one point. I don't think there was anyone who couldn't come from his side of guests.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, hard to say from the groom's end, but it was legitimately one of the it was surprised because again that was the first time I've ever been for like a friend, right, instead of like a family member,
right, like a peer.
And before I was never like a big wedding person because it's always just like, God, it's hot. I'm wearing this suit. I am sweaty, uncomfortable. I've been waiting so long just to eat. All I care is really about the food.
Oh, so true.
This was the one time where I was like, damn, they're getting married. Like that, we were just saying that for pretty much the entirety of the night. We would kind of just pause. Anytime there was a lull in conversation, we would just kind of sigh and just go like, wow, he's married. I can't believe he's married.
It's funny because after the ceremony, we were like right after we were taking pictures together, and he walks up to our group, like we're all childhood friends. He's like, "I'm married, guys." We're like, yeah, man,
so wholesome.
No, I love it because I think a big part of that as well too is we had basically grown up with him since first grade. At least I did. I did. And I think the other thing that was pretty incredible is that. Like all of our friends could go, right? Like, which was also amazing in its own right, considering how busy everyone generally is. And that was the third time in the past 10 years we've been able to all meet up, all 5 of us.
Damn.
Maybe not past 10.
Yeah, definitely probably not past 10, but like
past 8.
Looks like actually you're a couple years off.
It's close to 10.
Yeah, close to 10. Sorry.
Very
close. Eric's like, I rounded up for effect. Way to ruin the story for the pod, bro.
Yeah, bro. Come on.
Yeah, man.
You're souring my mood. You're crunching on my flaps, man. I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, since it's only been like 3 times in the past 8 years.
If you were to go like in the past like 8 and like 3/4 of a year, I'm gonna kick your ass.
No, because you give it like 2 years or like 2 years more, and it's like we were at school together every day. So
yeah. Which technically
shit.
I was at school with you, but I still never had those classes with you. So
Yeah, it was kind of funny looking back because I realized how few classes I had with my closest friends.
Yeah, no, this kind of came up during the wedding as well. You're like, oh yeah, wait, when do we actually have a class? And we're like, oh, and we like really didn't at all. In fact.
5th grade,
which is like a testament to like the friendships that we have, right? Like that we definitely. Literally barely see each other. Like really, it's only 2 of us that we really get to see each other often. One of them really mainly because of magic and whatever like food comes up, right? And outside of that, yeah, we really don't get to hang out all that often. Some might even say with that,
we should hang out more.
Thank you.
I got you.
Thanks, man.
That's why we're in showbiz, baby.
That's why we're in showbiz. But yeah, it was really cool though. To be able to see that, and again, to kind of just reaffirm that no matter what, like I know that we'll have our friends there. Like it's nice. It's really comforting to know that. Even after all these years and literally being like, is it even 3 times? Yes. Yeah, literally 3 times. It's not even an exaggeration.
Yeah.
There's one time. The last time was our friend coming to give us the wedding invitations, and the time prior to that was in San Diego.
Yeah, at the apartment.
Was that the first apartment or second? No, that was the second apartment.
Was I there when this happened?
Yes.
Maybe you were.
Wait.
I mean, you were living with us. Maybe you were somewhere else.
I think you were gone at the time.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid that shit for sure. I'm kidding. So for like the wedding, like this is the thing that I've heard people say, where it's like literally like can be very emotionally moving for like you in the audience to like see one of your like closest friends like get married. Did they do like were there any like
I didn't
speeches?
cry one bit.
Did you cry? I mean, I wouldn't blame you.
I didn't cry one bit. Certainly not when the groom walked down the aisle.
Certainly not when he walked out, and he just looked so
Normally
happy.
it's the other way.
Looking at his
No, that
was
was the funny. So, no, yeah, like basically when the bride walked down the aisle, it was fun because like everyone stands, right? Like that's Actually, I don't actually know common tradition because I don't.
You're
really
supposed to stand for the bride.
Yeah, right. I don't know wedding etiquette either.
And that's kind of what I figured, but we like half of us were like, do we do it? Like, should we stand? Like, we were all kind of unsure on it. And the moment we all did, I was like, oh man, shit. I tried maintaining composure. I could not maintain composure. It was definitely a moment. It's funny too because for the bride, we actually don't we haven't interacted with them all that much, right? Like we don't realistically know them all that well, but you can tell that both of them grew because of each other. Because for her, like they're both very like quiet, artsy types. But seeing the bride, like the way that, because they basically had brought us on a tour on Saturday, and brought us to check out the area and everything like that. And you could tell the way that she was talking to everyone, and like she was just so confident, and like I don't know, there was just a part of me I knew that was partly because of just them supporting each other and like the way that they interacted, and it was really really cool to see that.
I think it meant a lot to her to be able to show us around, like where she lives and where she grew up. It was fun. Yeah, the tour was really cool. We like met up at like a mall, and we walked to a taco place, and then we went to the cultural center.
Okay.
The Tijuana Cultural Center, which was this really big museum. It was also design week, so there was some interesting stuff up, like interesting exhibits. And there's people giving talks while we were there. So we like walked around and looked at the art, and then we took a guided tour of like the Museum of California. And
which California?
All of it. They talked about like the missions, and then a lot of it was near the end was focused on like Tijuana and Baja, but it was like talking about like the indigenous people in the area, how all that changed over time due to like colonization, the impact of the Spanish and the conquistadors, the war with the United States, and then like how Tijuana has developed over the past 100 years. There was a 100-year-old photo. Yeah. Not the actual photo, but it was a photo taken.
Photo of the 100-year-old photo.
Yeah. Basically, like an expanded, blown up version of a picture from 1924 of Tijuana, and it looked so different compared to what it is now. So that was all really interesting to see. Then we went to like basically the bar district. We went to a brewery there, and then we finished off getting seafood tostadas, which was really good. Ooh. Dude, but that was a very active day.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's sick. I mean, yeah, my questions are like, how is the food? It sounds sick.
Food was good, but I also had like stomach problems when I got back.
Dude, part of getting old, if I'm not careful what I eat, I will definitely like feel unwell or like have stomach problems. And just traveling in general, this was another thing about being in Seattle where I'm like, just traveling, like it definitely puts a strain on my gut biome and like my routine of like what I eat. So I could totally see. I don't actually know. Like I know some places like if you travel and you aren't like very careful, you can easily get sick. I don't know if Tijuana is one of them.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
From what I understand, like basically our friend's wife has never let him eat street food. Because she's like, it's not worth it. Yeah. You might get very sick from this. And then also like it's I'm pretty sure a lot of Mexico is the water. Like if you're not used to drinking it, you shouldn't. So we were having bottled water.
Yep. It's like it can be like very sketchy. I know when I was like a kid, the same thing was true in like China. It might be slightly better now, but certainly like any amount of tap water, like you will get sick. And like even the bottled water in like some stores, you have to be like very careful because they like literally like will just fill it with tap water and like try and like rebottle it and sell it to you. So like you gotta be on lock for that stuff for sure.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the restaurants we went to, anytime you'd order a drink, it would be bottled. So
yeah,
I think there's kind of an understanding.
Yeah.
That like the water can make you sick.
Very ill. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't like seriously sick, but I was like, oh man, I definitely don't feel great.
Yeah. No.
And also like just traveling and like eating food on the road can do that too. So.
Oh, totally. I mean, so for the wedding, like you have the whole ceremony. That like doesn't really take that long, right? Like it's like how long does that take?
It was interesting because I mean weddings vary from like person to person, from like couple to couple. You can choose what you want, what you don't want to have as part of your ceremony. And there's stuff that's like very traditional in American weddings. Mm-hmm. It's like very clearly influenced by American religion.
Yeah, Christian puritanical values, that stuff.
Yeah. Well, also just like the vows, having the priest.
Yeah.
All that. But yeah, it was interesting because for their wedding, I mean, they had. I wasn't anticipating how important the legal aspect of being married would be in the ceremony. Because like they did their vows. They did all that, but they also had like basically I didn't quite catch who she was, but it was basically a government person there.
Is that who that was?
Yeah. Government person. And then there was also, government person was speaking Spanish. And then there was also like a translator who maybe was also from the government, but it was kind of funny because his translations weren't super in-depth or detailed. He would just kind of get the gist of what she was saying and then say it. Like she'd be talking for like 15 seconds, and then he'd be like, "Now they're going to sign the document," and that would be it. But yeah, they signed the marriage license as part of the ceremony, and like they had parents from both sides sign the marriage license too. Like they were signing in 4 different places, and I'm like, "Oh, it's interesting that this is like a part of the ceremony." And also, what they had was. Normally at weddings during the reception, people will speak or give speeches, and it's normally you designate who's going to speak. It's like best man, I almost said chief bridesmaid.
Chief bridesmaid.
I was
maid of honor. Maid of honor. Yes, there you go. The chief bridesmaid.
Yeah, but basically, they were like, oh, does anyone want to say some words? Like right after they finished signing the marriage license, and I feel like that caught all of the folk coming in from out of town off guard because we were like, totally. Oh, I didn't think that we were gonna have this opportunity.
Open this up to audience participation. And
basically, yeah. They also really highlighted if anyone has an issue with this ceremony, speak now.
They really let that one marinate for.
They were like, they literally said multiple times, really, Nobody wants to say anything. Like, they
said
at all.
I think they said it twice.
That's crazy.
No, they actually kind of did that. Like there was a pause and like, all right, just like if anyone wants it, there's like this little bit of like awkward laugh afterwards.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
Oh my God, I would be such a sassy priest. I'd be like, no objections, really? Come on, someone has to have something, right? No.
The ceremony was like. Maybe 20 minutes to a half hour.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
It didn't feel
had to
long.
have been longer.
It didn't feel very long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious.
It was longer than a half hour.
I'm just curious because, like, like wedding happens, like the actual ceremony and stuff isn't super long from what I understand, and then there's kind of like the reception and stuff after. So, did you guys do anything like fun, like party, drink, like cry and hug your man?
Funny enough, neither of those really.
What'd y'all do?
We played board games.
Well, there were piñatas.
Oh, there was too.
So sick.
Yeah.
We went on the pinatas, and me and another guy broke the pinata stick twice.
That's not the part you're supposed to break.
I
No,
realized
not-
that after the fact.
Oh my god! How do you break
it
the
was just
pinata stick?
lots of pent up aggression.
Yeah, it's like stress relief. You could tell who's having a hard time based on the pinata game.
Catharsis works.
Yeah, catharsis. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and then
that's sick.
after, during the reception, it was just board games. There was no dancing. They're literally on their wedding website. They're like, at this time, board games. What do you think we're gonna do? Dance?
That's
Very
so funny. I mean, to be fair, like I get that based on what you're telling me about, like, you know, this friend of yours and his now wife. Like, it sounds like they're both pretty introverted and quiet, and they're probably like, we don't want to dance. Why should we dance at our wedding?
Yeah,
pretty much.
It was funny because I had I have one of my old coworkers is Mexican, and I told her, like, I was telling my old coworkers about, like, oh yeah, I'm going to this wedding. It's gonna be in Mexico. My friend's fiance is from Tijuana, and my friend who's Mexican is like, oh, you're gonna drink a lot. You need to prepare. They're gonna force you to drink. And she's like, you gotta. She made me this playlist. She's like, you need to know these songs in case they come on.
Oh my god! Wait, that's so funny.
Like, me and this friend, it's funny because sometimes she'll say stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'll go along with it. I don't want to be like contradicting her. And it was very clear that she was looking out for me, and she put in a lot of work. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't think we're gonna dance. I don't think this is so
funny. Yeah, you're just like playing along.
Even drank.
Yeah, she's probably. I told her because she was also like, make sure you keep us updated and be safe. So she like knows, but I'm sure she's gonna text me during this episode.
That's funny.
It was very, very wholesome. And honestly, the oddly most funny and wholesome moment of night was actually during that speech we mentioned, because some people did come up with speeches. I believe 2 people on the bride side of the family.
Were either of you guys like groomsmen at all, or
no? There wasn't any of that.
There were no
so that was the
groomsmen.
other thing I was
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how they're like setting up the wedding, and so there's no like best man to like give a speech or anything.
No.
Gotcha,
So that it was a very like non-traditional as far as I know, which I don't even know what is tradition at this point. Actually, I don't know what most people are doing nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know.
But in any case, most people, like, the only 2 people, if not maybe 3. The wife did have a speech prepared, obviously. So did our friend. But 2 other individuals on the bride side of the family did have speeches. No one on our side had any speeches planned. However, 2 speeches did happen.
Did either of y'all or your close friends go up there? Or?
Well, his dad went up first.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's reasonable.
And that was a show-stopping speech.
Oh my god, that's yeah.
The first thing out of his mouth as he walks up there, kind of awkwardly saunters up, fixes his suit jacket a little bit, goes, "Well, he's a good kid."
Oh my god, that's the most like wow, like father, like son.
It's like the most Asian dad thing you could have possibly done, but it was simultaneously very endearing because with people who have like very Asian parents, the whole thing is it's very hard to get any sort of validation from your parents.
Totally.
And so cheering that at your wedding actually probably means a lot, So it was like, really, really sweet.
He's trying his best here. Is
you can tell there's effort.
Our vibe from the dad. He's like he's trying his best to express his emotions in a way that maybe he has not done so frequently.
Yeah. Like expressing like pride and like approval and affirmation in your child. Crazy.
Like, I know it's and as well too. I remember asking his mom like later in the night as well too, like, "Oh, how do you feel?" She was like, "Oh, I don't know, happy, I guess." It's just like, yeah, that's very on brand.
Yeah,
I guess I'm supposed to be happy. I don't know. Do I have emotions? I don't know.
Yeah, that's just the Asian parent experience.
Yeah,
very good. But yeah, it was really sweet though, and it was overall legitimately a lot of fun. Like, definitely looking forward to the next one. And that's obviously the question that everyone brings up. Like, oh, who's gonna be next?
You're also kind of glazing over the fact that there is a second speech.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the second speech? Who gave
I
the
also
second speech?
decided, I was like, you know what? I feel a little weird not having a speech, especially if like We can't just leave it off on that one.
You're like, bro, your dad did such a mediocre job. Let me show him how it's done. No. But that's sick.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, I did not have anything prepared, but that is one thing I've learned is I'm very good at going off the cuff at the very least.
Yeah.
So that was the day of done, and basically, yeah, it was just one of those things where expressed a lot of the things that I've always thought about our friend over the years, because he's legitimately one of the most considerate people I know.
Yeah.
Like doesn't stop thinking about you no matter what he's doing. Like he'll always have you in mind. And that's just really sweet. No, especially knowing because we don't really get to hang out all that often. But you know, like you're just one of those friends who like remember something that you said years ago and like surprise you with that kind of thing. You know, and that's legitimately so fucking cool to me.
Right. He's very like he's maybe more quiet but clearly very thoughtful, right? Like there's a lot of thought going on there, and he clearly cares,
and he's consistently has been that through all these years. And that was something I just wanted to highlight as well too. It was just really cool to have someone who could share that with him all the time.
Yeah,
because that was something I know when we were living in San Diego, one of my biggest regrets was just not hanging out with him more. Granted,
totally. But
we mentioned this before, like it's just because he was busy all the time, because you know we're all busy. Not me. I was busy at home.
You were so not
me. He was the busiest of the three of us at the apartment. He was like president of Wushu Club, and he was also working so hard with all of his classes too.
And also going over to Mexico whenever he could to visit his now wife. So
yeah, like
there was not a moment he wasn't doing something, you know. And like a majority of the time, he would come home at like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was he was out really late, and it was immediately like, you know, go to bed. Like it was one of those things where I like no one really even gave him shit for not washing his dishes, because homie was just like literally eat and immediately bed. Like there was not a time to do that. So like I didn't even mind that at all. Like it was legitimately just hearts out to that guy.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was sweet. I took upon all the years of me just faking it till you make it to make that speech, and I would say it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Both you and I, Eric. I know we definitely think about our friends a lot, and we like introspect and are like thoughtful about the things that, you know, we appreciate in them, and like the things they do well that we like try, like, you know, notice, and like we just think about people a lot. I know. So I'm sure you could like give a good speech off the cuff, because you've probably done all that processing of like who your friend is to you and why he's so valuable and important.
Like it's just a matter of kind of getting your thoughts out on paper, right? Basically, you know.
Totally. And I think it's okay if it's a little scatterbrained, because it's like it's different from being like, hey, you're like the best man, give the best man speech or whatever. Again, I have not had the experience of having like a close friend get married yet, and so I haven't gone through that process, and I don't really know what like the go-to defaults are, right? So
I got you, buddy. We'll find out together.
Yeah, what's the rollout for this map?
Gonna find myself a wife in the next month, just so you can experience it, right?
Yep. Oh, thank you. Don't worry, I have your speech already, sweetie.
Thanks, man. I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is definitely one of those things where glad to have experienced it. Glad to realize, like, turns out it is a very different experience when someone you genuinely really care about.
Yeah. It was funny though, because you went up and I turned to our friend the doctor, and I was like, all right, he's taking the heat off us. Yeah. There goes our representative from the childhood friends delegation.
Literally, it's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, one of y'all gotta go up. At least one of y'all, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could have said anything as good as what you said. So I think you covered all the bases.
Yeah.
And if I went up, I would just be like plagiarizing. So
be like, yo, what he said was fire, but I want to say the exact same thing.
No, and it bears repeating, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Literally, you could do that and then say repetition is the mother of all learning. And
okay, so funny thing is there anything else you want to mention about the wedding?
My pants on my suit are a little too tight.
That seems like a tall problem.
It was a little, I was feeling a little uncomfortable.
Oh no!
And I would say we looked
to the
fucking
bathroom.
hot.
I like loosened my belt, and then I came back out. And I'm like, feel much better.
Were you not fit to the nines, you know, or whatever?
Well, I mean, I also got a new belt. Actually, my girlfriend bought it for me because I was so busy, and she was at Target, and she's like, "Do you need anything?" I'm like, well, there's one thing. And I think because I didn't like try it on ahead of time, it was a little tighter than I was anticipating.
Yeah,
You've
I
just gotten fatter. I'm sorry.
it's bulking season. Dirty
No, I
bulk.
compared it to my old belt and it was shorter. So, it's not me, it's the belt.
Nothing wrong with a little bulking.
So, small random story. So the reason why I asked is I actually did want to talk about because like what you were saying before about contributing like to contributing something but really not adding much. That's like one of my biggest fears, like in conversation in general. But I want to get back to that idea in a second. But shut up. But no, so just a random funny story when it came to the wedding. Along the side of suits, there was definitely time because I just like in the last week before the wedding picked up my suit. Right? I bought a new suit. I was like, I'm probably gonna need a suit at some point anyways. So I'll just pick one up now, right? Got it tailored, fitted, everything like that, and it was good. And I basically kept it in the little, not the suitcase. the suit, what the fuck is it called? You know the black thing that you store suits in, like for the hangers
for the suit.
Yeah, it's like the foreskin of the suit.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I also am like it might be like a suit bag. Like I don't know what it's called.
Suit bag? Maybe?
I don't know. Yeah,
it sounds like a slur for office workers.
You fucking dirty suit bag making your 6-figure salary. How?
It sounds like something I would like hear like the cyberpunk era. Like fucking suit bags.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it does sound like a term in cyberpunk. Okay, so you have your like suit carrier thing.
Yeah, so I have that. And I kind of kept it in there, and as we're getting ready for the wedding, I go to like open it up, right? And I was like, all right, just get my suit on, get it, all ready and all shenanigans for the wedding. And as I open it up, I'm like, I see a suit jacket, and I don't see anything else,
bro.
And I'm like,
no,
what the fuck? Like, I see the pants, but I bought like a vest. There was like a, like my tie, my dress shirt, like everything else was in there. I was like, holy shit. Did like that shit drop when I was like walking through the border? Like, what the fuck happened? I was freaking out because I know one of the hangers broke a little bit at home. And in my head, I'm like, that's fine, right? It was on like this bigger hanger, like there's no way it would have like dropped off or anything like that. And if it does, it drops into the bag, right? Certainly. And I'm looking, I'm like, start panicking. I'm like, oh my god, like I actually don't have it. I'm like, guys, do you guys like see on the floor anywhere, anything like that? And as I'm like scanning through the entire closet where we stored things, I noticed there's another one right there, like another suit jacket bag.
Oh.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I look to my left and I look to my right. I'm like, I look at what I'm holding. I look at that. I'm like, wait a minute. I think that's where I put mine. And I realized, turns out, our other friend who was there had also brought their suit jacket thing.
Oh my god.
And also happened to the exact same suit as I did.
What? Oh no. I was like, so you got confused with their suit bag, but like, did the suit look that similar? And you're saying
it's not. No. It's not even that. It's literally the exact same suit.
Oh my goodness.
The only difference that we had was just the those shoes we were wearing and the dress shirt we were wearing.
That's funny. Y'all have the same taste.
We have the same taste, and also probably we went to warehouse and we're like, you know what? This one's cool and gray. I'll take it.
This looks nice enough. Yeah, well, it's fine. Oh man, I feel like I don't know if that's like a fear I have or not. I haven't decided, but I would want to like not show up with the exact same suit as someone else.
Well, but, like, I mean, thing about suits though is
they're so
at least for men's clothing.
They're so default.
They do look similar in default.
Yeah, so it's not like that. Like, no one's going to know. It's not like you showed up in the exact same dress, right? Where it's like, there's more knobs to turn, and it's like, oh, if it's the exact same, it's like, whoa.
Right. I wore my fit better anyway, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing about wearing a suit, though, too, is like, it should be tailored, right? So it's going to look different on different people.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You're making a fair point, Luke.
I do try.
Yeah.
I do try to contribute to conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think a worry of mine is like, you ever like feel like you're not talking enough in like a conversation, and then you're like, I need to say something, and then you say something like, shit, that was like nothing.
You choose the wrong dialogue option.
The wrong dialogue option.
It's just a slur.
Luke will remember that.
Everyone
my
disliked
God.
That like no lie is like one of my biggest fears, and I've had times where I ask people like, God, am I contributing anything? Am I actually? That's where sometimes when I do the pod, I'm just kind of like, do I say anything? Will I add anything if I say anything? That's like
You
that
do.
thought is like 50% of the time going through my head. But yeah, it's just I like catch myself thinking that like all the time, and I would say like it's probably one of my bigger insecurities out there, but.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, you know, heart to heart, if I think you're yapping on the pod here, like I can literally I can just cut it out. Like I literally sometimes cut out whole segments because I'm like, oh, we're just yapping.
We're just flowing through the thoughts.
We're just yapping, and you know we record for long enough that there's some buffer room, and it's like, oh, let's just focus on the good stuff, like crap.
I love it when I crap.
There we go.
Darn.
Great job.
No, it's kind
Very
of funny.
good.
I had a thought when y'all were talking about the wedding and how like y'all just like played board games after. So I went to an event a couple weeks back, which was a burlesque show. Are y'all familiar with burlesque?
Yeah,
that's
kind
me.
of.
It's like my understanding of it is it's kind of like a fancy like strip show, essentially. Like, and being in Portland, that is like a very like common thing that happens. Like I have a friend who does like pole dancing, like, you know, it's just something. It's like one of the you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and it's something that like I've gone to with some friends. So I've gone to some like various like pole dancing shows where like one of them, my friend here, she was like oh, I have a recital, please come, and she did like a pole dancing routine. I've gone to other shows because like
it's funny to call it a recital.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know, when you took piano as a kid.
Exactly. The first thing that comes to mind is me, 8 years old, playing the piano very poorly.
Literally, yeah. But instead it's like, hey, come to like a pole dancing show where we're all like gonna strip. Like obviously like there's no like full frontal nudity anything, but it is like a strip show.
It's a different vibe than other recitals I've
It's a different vibe than when I was like playing clarinet in like eighth grade. You know, it's a little different.
I'm surprised they don't call it like a performance or like even a show. Because when my sister did dance, they would be like, oh, we're doing a performance.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like the vibe of the recital is this idea that like they're in a class, right? So they're in a class to improve their pole dancing like skills and techniques. And it is very much like a culmination of like the work they've been doing and the things they've learned. So it's kind of similar to a recital in like that aspect. Like it's because they're all kind of like still like pole dancing like trainees in a sense, right? Like they're not like professionals in any way.
Right.
So I think calling it a recital is kind of like fitting for that reason. But yeah, this is all to just like kind of give a background of what burlesque is, and I have some friends here who are like really into that stuff, and I'm in Portland. I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll go. And so we go to this burlesque show that is like D&D themed. So a Dungeons and Dragons burlesque show. So
oh
like,
my god, man!
Only in fucking Portland.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The guy, like, so there's a host, the MC. He's like dressed as a bard. He's been playing D&D for like 15, 20 plus years. Just makes all the like D&D jokes, and like the show is literally called like something double D's, right? Because it's like a burlesque show and D&D, and it's really cool. They basically had a lot of like cool routines. People were dressed as like, you know, various like one person was like an orc, another person was like a cleric, another person was like a druid. Like they had all these like different routines, which was like cool, whatever. I'm mostly there because my friends there are like into it. I'm like, yeah, sure, hell yeah, I'll go. But what was so funny to me is at this show, we're sitting at like a table somewhat in the back, and to the left of me, there's another table, and I just see some dude playing Pokemon Go on his phone at this burlesque show.
Bro, gotta catch them all.
Bro's gotta catch them all. And like, it makes sense that this is the Dungeons and Dragons burlesque show. And so, okay, you're attracting a nerdier audience, but I'm just like, dude, this beautiful woman is like basically like flaunting her ass and tits in front of you, and you're like, bro, it's a shiny Eevee though. Like,
you don't have to attack me like that, bro. You did not have to call me out like that.
You were my first thought when this happened.
I would be so thrilled if I got a shiny Eevee right now. Like, doesn't even matter what version of Pokemon, I would.
You know, it's just like what your stereotypical sense of what would happen at a burlesque show is versus like what's actually happening. And I feel like, you know, y'all did a great job of like breaking the mold by being like, we just kind of want to play board games and chill. We don't really want to drink at this wedding. And
I wanted to drink.
Well, you didn't.
No, I did.
Oh, well, you didn't.
I didn't play board games.
Oh, you did? What?
No, I just had drinks and talked to people.
Yeah,
Oh,
instead he
that's
talked about Magic the Gathering in the corner for like an
Yeah,
hour.
I was really breaking the mold that
my
night.
God.
Really breaking the mold, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was the topic of conversation that came up. I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting.
Yeah,
the guy was really telling me all about the different decks he was running, and I'm like, wow, I'm kind of out of my depth here. I can't even name the cards that I'm thinking of.
Oh, really? Oh, dude, it was the meme of that, you know, that guy like explaining to like the woman, whatever, like that meme with his like hand out, and he's like, you just gotta like think of it like this way. And she's like very uninterested.
Yes, I've seen different versions of that. Meme,
Yeah. Well,
no, I mean, I was interested. I was just like, I felt like I wasn't contributing anything to the conversation.
oh, really? Did that like trigger an insecurity in you? Did you feel something?
I mean, yeah, maybe.
I'm sorry. Could
Maybe
you
a
give
little
me
bit.
like a more like deep and like meaningful response to that question?
No, I think it was just I felt like I should at least know how to describe my interest, you know?
Ooh, this is a big thing that I've just been thinking about in life, and I've just heard about a lot in general, which is like the elevator pitch. You know, the idea of the elevator pitch? I feel like I should have an elevator pitch for everything I like in life. Like, there's so many times where someone like, I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like doing this thing, and I'm like, it is so, I like it so much, it's so hype, and someone's like, oh, tell me about it. I'm like, so there's a guy and he's doing this thing and he's like really cool, but he's like a morally gray villain, and like you know, he wants to put everyone in a dream, and I'm just like, damn, I wish I had like summarized that better and put my thoughts together to like engage my audience first before I opened my mouth.
I think you got to go for themes when you're describing media.
Themes.
Like how Ping Pong, the animation, is about the nature of competition.
Ooh.
And whether or not being gifted will get you farther than putting in hard work.
Honestly, I agree. The themes are what get me, and I agree. And those are beautiful themes, and that's why Ping Pong resonates with so many people who do like anything competitive.
I didn't get any of that from Ping Pong.
What'd you get from Ping Pong?
Ping Pong's cool.
You're the Gundam person, except literally you have the opposite reaction with Gundam sometimes.
I have a meme to like find and show you, which is literally you are the opposite. I really want to find this because it's such a funny picture.
Oh, I can find it for you in 2 seconds.
You know the image I'm talking about?
I know the exact image you're talking about. Here, I'll put it right here for you.
It's is it the man yelling at the other man versus what they're getting? Oh yeah, the cool robot. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was referencing.
Yeah. Okay, here. Let me show you my version of it.
Yeah.
This is
true.
me. Where I'm like, oh my god, the theme.
We've talked about this before on the pod.
We probably have. It's so funny. Well, I'm gonna show the image again because I like it so much. But but yeah, you know, I agree. Like sticking to the themes, keeping it like big picture and like grokkable, you know, grokkable.
See, the problem with me is I understand that my interests are not ones with mass appeal.
Right.
So I just don't try to explain them to people.
He's so quirky.
That's fair. I think it depends on
if
like
I was
the
quirky,
audience.
I'd try to convince people that I was super cool for doing the things I do, but I'm not.
Try convincing other people to get into it is the best part.
I think it's like, you know, if people are interested, you can engage with them, and if you just like want to sometimes you just want to gush and you need to find the right person to like gush to.
I'm gonna gush.
Not on this pod, young man.
Fuck up.
Not here, young man. But yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say with like the elevator pitch stuff, but
he really likes pitching it in an elevator.
Jesus Christ, how's your life been, man? How are you doing?
I'm on a roll.
How are you?
I don't know. I'm feeling really
doing?
insecure right now, I will say.
Really?
Oh.
How come?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not really adding that much.
You should.
My God. Bro, no.
I'm sorry, that was
Don't
fucked.
do it like that. Dude, I was gonna say,
I'm sorry.
when you were like talking about like these themes and just like sometimes the words you use, Luke, I'm so glad y'all are not STEM majors. Because I feel like it really I think it makes our podcast a lot better.
Don't you think I'd be able to bring the same sort of elevated language
No.
in a STEM field? No?
No. I don't think I think you could, but I think the problem is if we're all that way, it's boring. If
He's
we're
just calling
all
us
that way,
lame, man.
No, I mean I'd be there. It wouldn't be boring.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that, because that actually is something that I won't say I necessarily struggle with, but I have to be very conscientious about when I speak to people.
Yeah.
Is like I love the word juxtaposition.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I have to be careful not to say I'm snorkeling these chunk flaps.
No, I mean
That is something he does need to be careful about.
That's innate. But legitimately that's something where like I like tend to use more academic words at times, like when I'm just describing things. Like there's a switch that turns on when I'm describing things and explaining things.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do switch into more academic language, and I have to be really conscious to not do that, because a lot of people don't speak that way, right? Especially if I'm like talking to people at work.
What are you saying about your coworkers?
Bro,
I'm saying that I'm so smart. I'm so
You're just
educated.
adding too much to the conversation there.
Damn, he's overcompensating.
But no, like it's something where it's especially for someone who has to sometimes teach people, right? It's just an important thing in teaching, right? Like you want to use common like phrases, common wording,
common vernacular, if you will.
Yeah.
Jargon.
Jargon. Why use big word when small word work good?
True.
Which is honestly true. But yeah, that's something where I feel like I kind of have that opposite issue at times. But like I said, it's good that I can also just speak freely. You know, really a free speech enthusiast over here.
Oh my god.
Is there something you want to talk about the political landscape of our
I was
country
talking to one of my friends lately, and he said, I don't know, I guess I used some interesting turns of phrase. There's another one.
Yeah.
I said like the 11th hour, and he's like, the 11th hour. That's a good one. I didn't realize I talked like that, but I guess I do.
Sick. No, the 11th. That is sick. That's like
He's
hype.
like,
you should like put that in a book.
It's like, did you do theater? Because that's a very theater phrase.
It is, but I think it makes it better, like to have those like words. I think those are like more engaging and exciting. And the reason I'm kind of bringing this up, so I don't know if you remember what we were talking about at the end of the last episode about the other We Should Hang Out More podcasts.
What? What about it?
Yeah, well, you had this really cool idea. You know, you kind of ended the episode on a cliffhanger saying that we should each maybe listen to some of the episodes and come back and then like discuss them together, like kind of like a book club, almost like a podcast club.
Yeah, and I'm full of good ideas.
Yeah,
mate.
you're full of good ideas. So did y'all do your homework, or?
I think we should leave that to next episode.
Oh my!
You know what else we talked about last episode?
What?
How Luke and I were horrible students. I didn't do shit. So you
my god.
Procrastination is just.
I see. Fair enough. We can talk about it later. But one thing I will leave you with is one of these podcasts. All the people on it, they're all like engineering college students, and my god, does it show?
I mean, that explains why they should hang out more.
Yeah.
They don't have time.
They didn't. I mean, yeah. I guess I'll save it and bookend it for another time. But I have thoughts for sure.
Is it really bookending if you put one at the end of each shelf and not another at the beginning? I'll leave you on with that.
My visual cortex cannot process what you just threw at it.
Yeah, that didn't really contribute anything. Anyways, this has been We Should Hang Out More.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. And next time, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.